Today is International Firefighters Day, a time to honor the sacrifices they make every day. Leah Durain stopped by the Bexar-Bulverde Volunteer Fire Training Facility to get a look at how these heroes stay ready.
When does the day start? You know, the career firefighters that we have here, they work 48 hours on and 96 hours off.
In those 2 days, these firefighters for Bexar-Bulverde will respond to a range of calls: a house fire, lightning strike, car crash, or medical call.
Heart attacks or strokes or snake bite or twisted ankle, that's probably 70–75% of our calls.
Sometimes the emergency takes a harrowing turn. When a crisis becomes life-changing or life-ending for a community member, it can take a toll on first responders. But these heroes suit up again and again.
Every firefighter has their reason for doing it. I'm just so proud of them.
A passion to be successful in every mission means learning new skills and practicing the old.
The Bexar-Bulverde firefighters are doing high-angle rescue training. These skills could come in handy if someone falls into a variety of terrain, maybe a cave or a trench, or if someone is in an elevated space.
We might not see all of the hard work these first responders dedicate to our community, but we have the peace of mind that they're one 911 call away. The crews say they feel the gratitude for the commitment to safety.
They come through when we need a new equipment like this vehicle behind me. You know, it's just fantastic, the support that we have.
Leah Durain, KENS 5, Eyewitness News.
Boy, I want to thank all those guys too, and gals that put their lives on the line every day for us.
Absolutely. Thank you very much for your work.
6:26 right now, a lot more still to come.